Thank you very much, Colin. And we welcome as our guest today a long-standing friend, Séan Paul Mahon. Séan Paul, welcome back.
Thanks, and the first time in the studio here down in East Wall.
Yes, well, there's always a first for everything, Séan. Séan, many people would have said at the last council elections, you lost by 2 votes. That must have been really a bit of a sickener to get so close.
Well, you know, you have to respect what the people say.
Sure.
You know, 2 votes, it did. I remember the day or the day after you were there yourself, and you know, a day or two, I've good friends that kind of put me into place and say, you have to get on. And the day after or 2 days afterwards, you do have to get on with your life. But you have to respect the people, and the people's when the people vote, they make the choices, and you respect that. And if you have a good respect for what the people say, then it's easier. Yeah.
There must have been a huge temptation to think, oh, if I had gone to Mrs. Murphy or Mrs. O'Shea or Mr. this or that, you know,
well, you know,
so close, isn't it?
In the months afterwards, even the years afterwards, you meet people who tell you that for whatever reason that they didn't vote, that they were away, they apologise. You know, it's just.
It's the nature of the beast, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
One of the things that people, Séan, that people were saying is that despite it all, you actually took it with very good grace. I mean, many people, because you and I, we mixed in those same part of the world at the time, many people were saying, yes, it was very sad, but you took it with great grace. Was it a bit like the duck under the water, that there was, shall we say, tension, but at the same time you showed a really good face.
No, because we all have to get on with life. You know, as I said, it's nobody died here, and if you respect democracy, you respect what people say. Okay, and it was only 2 votes.
Sure,
you know what I mean. Look, flick of a coin, and you know, you know the way counts are done. They're random selections.
Sure.
That random selection could have gone the other way. You know, and you could have been talking to Julia Carmichael this morning, saying who took the seat, saying it was the roles reversed. So look,
as I say, the nature of the beast. Can I ask you then, Séan, and not being too personal about it, you were on the council from 2003. I mean, it was a significant part of your life. You're back on it again. Clearly you didn't give up politics in the interim. What does an out-of-office politician do in the interim?
Well, I took up a position, or went for a position in Artane Family Resource Centre.
Excellent.
And I'm their community development worker. So I was working within the community. But there was a lot of changes. Fianna Fáil were going through a bit of, you know, they were reappraisal. So I, with a couple of others, took on rebuilding the party in Dublin North Central, and then we joined up with Dublin North East, now Dublin Bay North. So we have a thriving organisation. We have nearly 250 members, very active organisation, and all things are good. We have a lot of young people joining the party. And you know, the future is bright for the party in Dublin Bay North. Yeah.
Can I ask you then,
and by the way, we have fantastic public representatives. You know, Senator Eivor Power, Councillor Deirdre Heaney, Councillor Tom Bravison. You know,
and yourself, of course.
Yeah, well, I have to give myself a break, but we have plenty of people on the fringes.
Can I ask you then, Séan, because we haven't really, I haven't had an opportunity to discuss this in any way with many people from Fianna Fáil, how much of a body blow was the last election? Because Fianna Fáil were the dominant political force throughout my life, were the dominant political force, Dublin North Central, Dublin North East, for as long as we can remember. And then suddenly Fianna Fáil are down to no seats out there in Dublin Bay or Dublin North East. Virtually unheard of. How much was it, both personally and politically, to the party?
Well, huge blow. But again, Fianna Fáil is about the grassroots. Fianna Fáil aren't. Some people that are not connected with Fianna Fáil have this perception that they're all high and mighty. Fianna Fáil organisation, grassroots, are ordinary people. They're in our constituency. We're really lucky that a lot of our members, 90% of our members, are attached to other organisations. You know, whether it's the GAA, Tidy Districts, Raheny Tidy Districts, Woodlawn Tidy Districts, Scouts. You know, they're all involved in community, so they're on the ground. Okay, but those people were feeling it before the crash. Okay, so they knew it was coming. But after the crash, you know, people start. It's like a family that's gone through a bereavement. They get together, and you know, we started to rebuild, and that's what we've done.
Sure, particularly out in our part of the world, as I would call it, it seems to be that there's a new generation coming through, in the sense that the if you like, the old legacy generation have by and large, the Berties, the Noel Aherns and all of that, the Martin Bradys, you know, nature has taken its course. Is that the case? Is that what we will see is a revitalised Fianna Fáil, rather than just the same old faces being wheeled out again?
Well, you're gonna look. You have to have experience there,
of course,
too, and you need, with experience, like it's like a good Dublin football team. There'll be the old heads, and you'll bring on the you know, you bring on the younger players or the younger people, and that's needed. People need guidance and need a little bit of, you know, a word in their ear. And we're lucky. We're lucky that we have, you know, we have former public representatives who are there to help. You know, to help the younger people coming. We have a good we have a good young section within the party in Dublin Bay North, and there's a great future for some of them, you know, and they're 19, 20 years of age.
Yeah. Ironically, to a certain degree, Sean, out in certainly the area that you're in and the area that you'd be looking for support in the council elections, it's almost like there's been a bit, it seems to me anyway, that there's been a bit of a flip, in the sense that between Sinn Féin and Fianna Fáil is that if you like, the Republican Party ascendancy was always Fianna Fáil out there, you know, from Charlie's day and so on. It seems, from what we see in the council elections, with Fianna Fáil planning to run 2, which is yourself and Councillor Tom Brabazon, and Sinn Féin planning to run 3, that they see themselves as the in the ascendancy. How do you respond to that then, Sean? Because
well, it's a risky one. It's a risky one, you know. In politics, you have to be realistic too, and you have to, you know, people dismiss polls, and you dismiss polls at your peril, because I mean, three candidates could result in them only getting 1 seat, because if you split it wrong, it's a disaster. If one person polls too high. In our case, we're being realistic. You know, Fianna Fáil are on 16-17% in the city. We might, in north side of the city, in our constituency, we could be on 18-19%. That means that there's 2 seats.
Yeah.
In order to get 3 seats, you have to be up around the 27% mark. Okay, we don't see, you know, we'd love to be on 27%,
of course you would,
but we're not. We're not on 27%, and that's the fact.
Yeah.
So, in the party doing what they've done in choosing 2 candidates, and we're geographically located. Tom's on the eastern side, and I'm on the west side, and
I would have said Fianna Fáil have done it very shrewdly, that you've actually sat down and thought about this, and as you say, while you'd love to get
I think we're a bit lucky.
Yeah.
I think we're a bit lucky because of where the candidates, where we were based. That's
okay.
You know.
We should remind people you're running in Donaghmede in the next.
It's a
mega constituency.
Yeah, look, it stretches from Beaumont Woods right out to the seafront. Yeah. So I'm now in a constituency that I can say that I can look at the sea. So,
yeah, but it's also
I'm not an inland constituency.
But it's also a 9-seat.
I know. Look, I mean, you know, again, this goes back to the farce of local government. Yeah. It's a 9-seat constituency. Yeah. There's 30,000 houses. Yeah. You know, if you want to keep politics local, that's not the way to keep politics.
Yeah, I mean, am I being a bit cynical here, to use an Australian expression? In a 9-seat constituency, couldn't a CNI dog get elected in a 9-seat constituency?
Well, you know, at the moment there's close on 20 candidates. Okay, so if it's close on, that means 11 of them won't. That's at the moment, and I can see more candidates being added to the list. So I reckon you're going to have between 22 and 25 candidates.
It's going to be some ballot paper, isn't it?
So it's a big ballot paper, but only 9 people get selected.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, you can nearly slot in the parties in the first 6 or 7. then it's a dogfight for
Yeah.
the last few. And it's luck, it's geography, you know.
Yeah. So what is it? Yeah, it's interesting because whenever I went out to the RDS, you get to see people do, some people plying their craft of what I would call at the count. And you were one of the great. You were one of the people I could go along to, and I could say at 1 o'clock, Sean, what's going to happen, and you could tell me what would happen in 5 or 6 hours' time. How important a skill do you think that is, Sean? Particularly when you're doing the canvassing, not so much after the votes have been cast.
The skill of the count.
Well, no. Well, the skill of the count, you're very skilled at identifying where your votes are and identifying where your votes aren't, for argument's sake.
Well, it's each election changes, so we'd never concentrate on one area to say, well, that's where our vote, because votes move, and you can't say, they're mine. Okay, in the area that I'm running, I got 1,000 votes transferred over. But you start working for them again.
Sure.
Okay. So it's not, okay, there will be certain areas that you might get a bigger percentage. Okay, you will put a little bit, you will concentrate on that, but you will concentrate on every area equally. Because if you got 6% in an area, and if you work hard on it, and you bring that up to 9%, and it's all about percentages.
Yeah. Of course it is.
It's all about percentages. Yeah. It's so if you can get that, if you can get an extra 1 or 2%, well, then you're,
Yeah. So have you and Tom Brabison come to an understanding to say that you won't canvass west of the or east of the Malahide Road, and
I wouldn't say
and he won't focus on the other side.
I cross over the Malahide Road a little bit.
Yeah.
But there is a gentleman's agreement.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that makes sense. It does make sense, doesn't it? Yeah. So how does that work out in practice then? If there is an issue that is happening, say down in Donaghmede around the shopping centre or something like that, would you stay out of that one and leave that to him?
We'll pick, if I need to, or Tom needs to come up, you know what I mean? There's no point. The two of us will go to public meetings together. If there's an issue to be fought for, the two of us will fight for that issue.
Sure.
But as you know, the makeup of local politics is that it tends to be cross-party.
Yeah.
So we don't. It's not just the two of us. If there's an issue to be solved, there's a tendency to bring all parties in together to solve the problem, because we're about solving problems. We're about delivering for people.
Yeah.
And sometimes two people in one party isn't going to do it.
Yeah. So
all the time.
When you're going around the door, knocking on doors and talking to people at the Northside Shopping Centre and the Donaghmede Shopping Centre and things like that, what's coming up? Are people talking about what we would say? Are they more focused on the future? Are they looking at saying to Séan Paul, what about all those guys? What about Bertie? What about Brian Cowan? How is that legacy a millstone on your neck, or somehow or other, can you get people to focus on what are the important issues, which is the future?
No, people are talking about the future. People do want stability, and people have, we all know that people have suffered in and especially our older people who are doing it in a way the property tax, now they have the water tax, they've got a reduction in their pensions. They are but they seem easy. They not that they're taking it hard, but they're thinking of the younger. They're thinking of the people coming up.
Okay,
if we take the hit here, but a lot of the issues that are coming up. One of the big issues, and only yesterday several people cropped up with me, was the local property tax. I mean, the local property tax. We took over 100 million in the local property tax in Dublin last year, in the Greater Dublin area, for our local authorities, and that was for a half year. And the promise was, it was sold on the basis that we would get 80% back for local government, and it's it's to put into our local areas, and we got nothing back.
Yeah,
we got nothing back. And I put a question down on Monday night's meeting. I was on to the local area office, and the lads in the local area office very well. And graffiti, one of the things we are great in Dublin North Central, in the North Central area, was getting rid of graffiti. Once a graffiti was put up, there was a crew sent out and they got rid of it. And once it's hit early, it's gone. The City Council, unknown to us in the budget, reduced the graffiti budget from 450,000 to 150,000 over. Now, after that budget, if we had have got our 80%, the budgets, all of those budgets, should have been increased. You know, because that's what people paid their local property tax for. They said we get, like, the man that was in with me yesterday was talking about Macaulay Park and how bad it was and nothing was being done. But I paid me local property tax. Why isn't it being something being spent on it?
Well, that's, I mean, I think many people will say that have we been hoodwinked in that regard, because
I think the government have missed an opportunity, because even though the first €100 tax, people didn't pay it, but the property tax was paid, and a lot of people said, okay, right, we can see the merits in this, we're going to get it back in local services. And if for the first year, if they hadn't done it in the first year, people would have said, hold on, I can see things happening in the area. You know, that's what my 300 or 400 euros is going on.
Well, in many respects, and I know this isn't a local issue per se, but I mean, people blamed Fianna Fáil at the time of saying, well, you pumped up, you put money into social schemes, and really they weren't real jobs, and that's what we're getting now is that it's a correction. It's not so much cutbacks. Is the same possibility there? For this coalition, where they put in local taxes, which really don't, they're as local as road taxes are to roads, or we're also going to have the communications tax, whether you watch RTE or not, you still pay a tax. Do you think that legacy will come back to bite them as well?
Yeah, of course it will, because all these taxes, and we're hoodwinked, and it's successive governments.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the plastic bag tax was to be used for environmental projects.
Yeah.
Where's it gone?
I know. Yeah, so I'm still.
You know, the road tax was to be used for road improvements.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, so let's do what we say. You know, and it's not just, it's successive governments, and it's the permanent civil service too. Like, you know, you know, we can, you know, we get away with this. You know, and then let's put a bit of spin on it. But if we're going to do you know, this is an ideal opportunity.
Just going back to the council election, Sean, what do you think, particularly in your part of the world, which is the old Artane, Whitehall ward, what do you think is going to be the primary issue that's coming up there for the local government elections?
Well, as I said, I think that the big one, from me being on the door, the big one is the property tax. And the big one, it is, and it's not that people, okay, they begrudgingly paid it, but now they've paid it, they want to see improved services. Okay. And it's been said, like, whether it's the tree outside being cut, they're saying to me, well, what's the problem? I've paid me property tax. Yeah. Okay, now,
do we need some mechanism to say that a property tax is actually used for local government?
Absolutely, and it should be. And it comes back to local councillors. You know, if the fund is there to say, okay, this is where we're spending this year. This is where we're spending. So you're accountable for where you're spending.
Just before we hand over to Colin, Séan Paul, something that I am acutely conscious of, and that is the way during the boom for whatever we tended to be a bit conciliatory to developers, and then when it all went belly up, I'm seeing regularly, all I can say is abandoned sites waiting for the market to pick up. The one that really annoys me particularly is Clontarf Baths. The other one that annoys me as well is the Baths up in Sybil Hill. We lost 2 leisure facilities. We didn't actually, nobody gained anything other than a few financiers. Is there much Dublin City Council can do about that?
Well, again, it goes back to our 80%. Now, you know, I sit on the sports, so leisure is one of the big, one of my kind of bailiwicks. You know, I've all weather facilities, certainly swimming pools. I mean, that the St. Paul's was, and Dublin City Council actually subsidised that in a small way. That was a disaster to let that go. Huge facility, well used. Yeah. What happened then was the CRC, we funded CRC at the swimming pool in some way, and then we got ours open there to the public. That was part of the deal. But for an area this size, not to have proper facilities for swimming, you know,
loses 2.
I mean, what I suppose St. Paul's, because my kids learned how to swim, and in St. Paul's I was very familiar, but it's a huge loss sitting there.
Séan Paul, we're going to wish you the best. We've run out of time now, but we wish you the best for election 2014.
Thank you.
Thank you.